welcome to the Apologists Angle. For today, October 15th, 2024, an AI-generated Christian cultural apologetic perspective on today's news. This podcast is based directly on the writings of the Christian cultural apologists discussed, but like all AI, it can make mistakes. In the news today, Donald Trump sparked outrage after suggesting the U.S. military should be deployed against his political adversaries on Election Day, singling out California Congressman Adam Schiff as a bigger threat than foreign terrorists. Trump's comments, made in an interview with Fox News, were condemned by historians and politicians who likened them to the tactics of authoritarian leaders like Viktor Orban and Vladimir Putin. Schiff accused Trump of inciting violence, while Kamala Harris's campaign called his words dangerous and a threat to American freedom and security. Commentary inspired by the writings of Dorothy L Sayers, The Dark Art of Demagoguery, How Trump's Rhetoric Threatens the Fabric of Democracy. As I reflect on Donald Trump's recent suggestion that the U.S. military should be deployed against his political adversaries, I am reminded of Dorothy L Sayers' incisive observation in Strong Poison, that the worst crimes are those committed not out of malice, but out of unbridled zeal. It is this very fervor that has driven Trump to stop at nothing to achieve his goals, no matter how divisive or destructive they may be. Trump's rhetoric, with its characteristic blend of bravado and scapegoating, has a singular power to sway public opinion and create an atmosphere of fear and suspicion. This is precisely the kind of demagoguery that Sayers critiques in her novels, where characters use language to manipulate others and further their own interests. In The Mind of the Maker, Sayers notes that most people's minds are shaped by the opinions of others. They never take the trouble to form their own convictions at all. Trump's ability to tap into this dynamic is a hallmark of his demagogic style, where he uses simplistic and emotive language to create a sense of urgency and shared purpose among his supporters. But what are the consequences of such rhetoric? As Sayers would have us consider, the answer lies in the way it erodes democratic norms and institutions. By singling out specific individuals or groups as threats, Trump creates a stark divide between us and them that is antithetical to the principles of democracy. This kind of division can lead to violence, as we saw in the aftermath of his comments about Adam Schiff. Moreover, it undermines the very fabric of our democratic system by creating an atmosphere of fear and mistrust. It is also worth noting that Trump's enthusiasm for authoritarian solutions has a peculiar appeal to certain segments of the population. As Sayers might have observed, this enthusiasm is often driven by a desire for simplicity and certainty in a complex world. But this simplicity comes at a cost. It ignores the complexities of human experience and reduces them to simplistic slogans and sound bites. The danger of Trump's rhetoric lies not just in its potential for inciting violence, but also in its ability to normalize authoritarianism as a viable alternative to democratic governance. As historians and politicians have pointed out, Trump's comments are eerily reminiscent of the tactics used by authoritarian leaders like Viktor Orban and Vladimir Putin. This is precisely the kind of precipitous decline that Sayers warns us about in her novels. Once we start down the path of demagoguery, it becomes increasingly difficult to turn back. In conclusion, Trump's recent comments represent a disturbing manifestation of the dark art of demagoguery. By tapping into our fears and anxieties, he creates an atmosphere of division and mistrust that undermines the very foundations of democracy. As Sayers would have us consider, this kind of rhetoric has devastating consequences for individuals and society as a whole, revealing a profound symptom of a deeper disease that threatens to consume us all. It is up to us to recognize these dangers and reject the siren song of demagoguery before it's too late. Thank you for listening to today's episode of The Apologist's Angle. Be sure to come back tomorrow for a new take on the day's news from the perspective of Christian cultural apologetics.